pertinent question to ask about the word woke might be, why in such a short time has it gone from a rallying cry to a pejorative? If the word only made you think of rational, deserved causes like teaching a less whitewashed version of American history, AOC would still want to own it. But it's a joke, because it makes you think of people who wake up offended and take orders from Twitter, and their oversensitivity has grown tiresome.
You are about to witness something you would have never thought to be true. Bill Maher took a number of scathing jabs at the Democratic Party for failing to address the woke population that has afflicted it over the last 10 years. The DNC, Maher contended, should have distanced itself by now, given that this extreme group was a significant factor in their election defeat last year. However, the party continues to cater to the fringe left, further eroding its political standing. Maher's takedown was so abrupt that it shook the DNC to its core. Now let's get started.
You never hear anyone bragging about being a liberal. There's no liberal Bob Schmohawk as a liberal who wants to enact more liberal policies. Democrats might want to think about what that means, because the implication is you're embarrassed by what liberalism has become, that the term is now irredeemably coupled with woke nonsense, which is a shame, because despite their nonsense, it's still generally a better product. But what does it say about your brand if you don't want to say what you are?
Maher criticized the DNC for their persistent embarrassment about their own identity. He argued that instead of taking pride in their political history, Democrats seem almost ashamed of it, constantly apologizing for their past. Republicans, on the other hand, proudly embrace their heritage. They take pride in their conservative beliefs and don't hesitate to express them. The GOP is confident in its values, whether people agree with them or not. Meanwhile, the DNC appears trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, trying to please everyone while losing sight of who they really are. Maher's point was clear. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And in today's divided political climate, a party that hides in constant shame will always lose to one that wears its beliefs like armor.
So much of liberal politics nowadays is identity politics, and yet it seems we found the one thing liberals won't identify as: liberals.
Let's be honest, Maher wasn't wrong. In modern liberal circles, people seem eager to align with any minority group that gives them a sense of moral superiority. No matter how irrational an ideology might sound on social media, they'll defend it endlessly. Yet, when it comes to defending liberalism itself, they stay silent. Their fear of being labeled bigoted or out of touch has become a rejection of their own principles. Instead of standing for the core tenets of liberal thought, free speech, open debate, and individual liberty, they've surrendered to political correctness. Maher's critique hit hard because it was true. Liberals today don't debate, they delay. They follow the script. They hide behind hashtags instead of ideas. And that's why, Maher warns, they're losing cultural influence.
James Carville knew how to win, and he blamed the Democratic losses this November 2nd on stupid wokeness. To which AOC fired back that wokeness is a term almost exclusively used by older people these days. So that should tell you all you need to know. What? This is a term folks like you brought out very recently and had been proudly displaying at every march since. Just last year, The Guardian declared woke the word of our era. I guess they didn't get the memo from the Mean Girls Club. We don't use that emoji anymore. Woke, please, we say fetch now.
It's fascinating. The very word woke that this movement once celebrated has now become something they're desperately trying to abandon. A few years ago, they wore it like a badge of moral enlightenment, shouting it proudly across social media. They flooded the internet with hashtags and virtue signaling, boasting about their awareness and compassion. But now, they're quietly distancing themselves from the term, claiming it was misunderstood or taken out of context. It's remarkable how quickly a movement can drop its own name when it becomes inconvenient. The same people who once weaponized woke to shame others are now running from it. And Maher nailed it. If your beliefs can't survive without a catchy slogan, maybe the problem isn't the slogan, it's the ideology behind it.
Great strategy, never missing an opportunity to remind voters how lame and clueless and hopelessly uncool they are. Especially since those are the ones who actually vote. But okay, fine. What word would you like us to use for the plainly insane excesses of the left that are not liberalism, but something completely different? Because you can't have that word liberal from us and think it should cover things like canceling Lincoln and teaching third graders their oppressors. That's all your new thing.
It's almost poetic. The woke crowd now hates the word woke and is running from it as fast as possible. But here's the twist. They haven't abandoned the ideology itself. They've just rebranded it. The same ideas remain. The belief that men can become women, that biological men can get pregnant, that race should outweigh merit when it comes to jobs or promotions. None of that has disappeared. They've only swapped out the label, hoping no one notices. But make no mistake, the mindset is identical. It's anti-reality, anti-common sense, and completely disconnected from the struggles of everyday people. As Maher put it, the name might change, but the hypocrisy stays the same.
One question to ask about the word woke might be, why in such a short time has it gone from a rallying cry to a pejorative? If the word only made you think of rational, deserved causes like teaching a less whitewashed version of American history, AOC would still want to own it. But it's a joke, because it makes you think of people who wake up offended and take orders from Twitter, and their oversensitivity has grown tiresome.
Despite all their self-proclaimed enlightenment, the woke mob seems permanently angry. Nothing ever satisfies them. When there's no current outrage, they dig through history to find new villains. A quote, a statue, a painting, anything to moralize about. Victimhood has become a full-time occupation, and instead of critiquing what offends them, they simply cancel it. Great artists, thinkers, and historical figures are being erased because their views don't align with 21st century Twitter standards. Maher was absolutely right to ridicule this obsession. It's not progress, it's regression. Rewriting history to avoid discomfort isn't enlightenment. It's fragility. And this weakness, Maher argues, is eating away at the Democratic Party from within.
And I would love to have AOC on this show. There's so much to admire there. I was one of her first supporters for the Green New Deal idea. But that will probably never happen, because Democrats don't go anywhere these days where they're not pre-adored. And that's my last bit of advice to them. Go where the amen corner isn't. Do Fox News. Be brave. Come here. Go everywhere. Winning is about expanding the electorate.
It's extremely unlikely that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would ever sit down for an interview where her views are seriously challenged. Let's be honest, she prefers softball questions that let her bash Trump and Republicans without pushback. After that, she's suddenly too busy or selective about media appearances. AOC perfectly represents the Democratic Party's culture of political comfort zones. The DNC only engages with networks that share its worldview, creating an echo chamber where no hard questions are asked and accountability doesn't exist. Maher's frustration with this mindset makes perfect sense. A movement that can't defend its ideas outside its own bubble isn't confident, it's afraid. And fear, not conviction, now drives much of the Democratic narrative.
Democrats who 1 year from now will be licking their wounds and asking themselves how they could have lost the midterms so badly must instead ask themselves that question now. Now, like, while there's still time to do something about it.
I completely agree. More than a year after losing the election, Democrats still haven't gained traction in the polls. Despite all the media spin and political grandstanding, they've failed to convince voters that they can handle the nation's biggest problems. Meanwhile, Trump continues to dominate the conversation on critical issues like national security, the economy, immigration, and America's global standing. Whatever you think of him personally, Trump has a sharp instinct for what ordinary Americans care about. His approval ratings may fluctuate, but his grip on key topics never weakens. Even those who dislike his tone respect his resolve. The Democrats, on the other hand, haven't found a way to match that because real policies always beat buzzwords and safe sound bites. Maher is absolutely right. The DNC desperately needs a communications czar. Their messaging is all over the place. No one can even remember what Kamala Harris's 2024 campaign was supposed to be about. It felt disorganized, inconsistent, and overly focused on catering to the far left, instead of appealing to middle America.
A couple of weeks ago, Amy Klobuchar was here, and when I suggested the Democrats need a messaging czar, she offered me the job. Well, you need a messaging czar in your party.
And do you think it should be you?
Amy, I'm flattered. But after careful consideration, I must decline. The hours it would take me away from home would make it very difficult on my family. But I will tonight once again break out my coach hat and try to point the Democrats in the right direction. That's all I can do.
The party seemed more concerned with virtue signaling than offering realistic solutions. What they need now is someone who can speak clearly and confidently to working families, independents, and the middle class. Someone who can make complex ideas simple and relatable. Because until Democrats learn how to connect with regular Americans, no amount of slogans, hashtags, or celebrity endorsements will save them. In politics, if your message doesn't land, nothing else matters.
You know, liberals think this country is full of dumb white people, but in our democracy, dumb white people make up a substantial portion of the vote. The median voter is a white person in their 50s who didn't go to college, their favorite TV show is NCIS, and their pronouns are what? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and get away from me. In 2008, Republicans only won 4 Virginia counties by more than 70%. This month, in the governor's election there, they did it in 45 counties. And this is what a lot of Democrats were told was the reason for that. Glenn Youngkin's win proves white ignorance is a powerful weapon. Racism still works in Virginia. It's not the messaging, folks. This country simply still loves white supremacy.
The DNC's current mess is the direct result of this approach. Self-righteous, tone-deaf, and always blaming someone else. The woke wing of the party paints every American problem as the fault of conservatives, corporations, or abstract social injustices. Instead of taking accountability for their losses, they look for scapegoats. Maher's frustration is justified. The DNC has become addicted to deflection. They recycle the same tired talking points over and over, refusing to self-reflect or adapt. Until Democrats start owning their failures and reconnecting with reality, their voter base and credibility will keep shrinking.
What I have ruled out is vote Democrat because white people suck. It's like trying to get laid by saying, you're ugly, you want to dance? You're alienating a whole lot of people, particularly whites without a college degree, which is most of them, in a country that's still 70% white. I'd say do the math, but math is a form of white supremacy.
In the end, Maher's takedown of the Democratic Party wasn't just brutal, it was necessary. While others pretend not to see the cracks, he exposed them. Denial of reality, obsession with woke ideology, and the absence of coherent messaging. Instead of listening to the silent majority, the DNC keeps chasing approval from the loudest minority. Until they rediscover responsibility, reason, and common sense, they'll keep losing ground to leaders who actually understand the country's needs. Maher didn't call them out for sport. He did it to remind them what real leadership looks like. And that wraps up today's video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.